Hello everyone, Shaun from the Everyday Racer. Today we are at the Bemsee Brands Hatch Round 1 test day. It's Friday, it's a bit chilly, very cold this morning. The sun has come out and we have had a dry track. In the sun it's not too bad, but yeah, a bit chilly in places. Had a good wander around the paddock and met some of the CB500 riders already. And yeah, introduced ourselves in the series sponsor Rob from SF Parts, and yeah, we're just going to test a new bike today that's been built over the winter. Hopefully get out shortly after lunch, and yeah, I'll let you know how it goes. And tomorrow, over the course of the weekend and the races, we're going to walk around and we're going to speak to some of the riders in the different subclasses of CB500 and winners and podium place finishers in the classes, and hopefully get to know some of the riders that are racing in the Bemsee Championship. And yeah, we'll go from there tomorrow. I'll see you then. Morning everyone. It is Saturday, Brands Hatch, round 1 for Bemsee. And yesterday was not very successful. Unfortunately, a sidecar put some oil down and that ruined our afternoon of riding. We did do one session just to scrub the tyres in, make sure the CB was working fine. Weather looks all right. We're all scrutineered and ready to go. Our garage is nice and busy. Lots of bikes. My ZX6 for if I race that today. I'm on the reserves and the CB's ready. Dan North is over there. Mark Osborne. Lots of friendly, happy people. Daniel North, the superstar.
Okay, running around.
Yeah, the weather's good. We'll see what happens. See you in a bit. So, this is post race 1 at Bemsee. I had a terrible qualifying. I had an electrical fault with the bike. I managed 2 warm-up laps and then had to pull in. Didn't get it fixed before we could go back out. So I started on row 4 in 11th. Got a great start, was up to about 5th into turn 2, and then got a false neutral into Druids, sorry for my language, into Druids. Yeah, they just made it really hard. 4 riders went underneath me. I had to do the work again. Managed to get past pretty much everyone except the front 3 who had just broken away at that stage. But I'm now on the 2nd row, 4th for this next race, and hopefully we'll have a good chance. But finally got a podium, enjoying it. It looks like everybody's having a wonderful time. Here's the race winner, Dan North. First race win in the dry, congratulations.
First race win of the Thunderbike. First race win of the Thunderbike 500.
Yeah, first Thunderbike 500 race winner.
I'll go down in history then. History book.
Go down in history.
I thought the ZXB today, just give Dan a chance.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Fair play, boys.
But yeah, we'll see how we get on in race 2.
Ciao.
Good morning everybody. It is Sunday at Bemsee Brands Hatch, and yeah, great day's racing yesterday. Good fun up the Kentagon last night. Lots of happy people. Great day yesterday. For the first time running CB500 grid, they did a great job. Dynos, weigh-in, like rider weigh-in, everything was seamless. Yeah, fantastic day for everybody here involved. I think all of the 500 riders were so impressed with the way that they did it and ran it. Yeah, so hopefully we'll have another good day today. The sun's shining, got nice blue skies today. It's a little frosty and chilly, but hopefully it'll warm up later. And hopefully, yeah, we can get some decent results and some decent racing again today. And we'll have a catch up later on. See you later. Hello everybody and welcome back. We are here today to chat about Bemsee Round 1 at Brands Hatch 2025, and I'm here with Mark again. Hey, we are just going to have a quick chat, follow up from the vlog that you've probably just watched at the beginning of the video. Slightly different this podcast because we haven't got a guest on, but we're just kind of doing a little bit of a round review from round 1. And the best way for us to do that is just get on and chat about it. So yeah, I'm going to start off just by saying that it was a great weekend. As you can see from the videos, the weather was fantastic. Well, I say it was fantastic. It was cold, frosty.
Yeah, but you're still lucky though, aren't you? Considering the time of year and everything. First one is usually terrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's face it.
Yeah, I mean, racing track day in March is as good as track day in November. It's not great. Yeah, it's hit and miss, and it looked a bit ominous going into the weekend, really. We weren't really sure how it was going to be, and then we got completely lucky. All 3 days were bone dry, and it was just a bit cold, but we got really lucky with the weather.
It looks like you had, obviously, test day. Well, obviously you've seen that you've had some incidents with the track spillage with oil, but it's part of it, and unfortunately, but at least you actually got some time out there as well. Yeah,
the test day was a bit of a pain especially for me. It was a bit of a painful experience, not because of anything that the club had done, but I know Brands quite well from track day in there for years, and I only booked a half track day. I didn't feel like I needed a full day of testing round Brands Indy. I just really wanted to check my bike worked and be done with it.
Blow the cobwebs off.
Blow the cobwebs off, check the bike worked and all of that. So unfortunately, a sidecar put some fluid down through Surtees, and that caused quite a big stoppage. They washed it down, tried to dry it up, and then they sent the sidecars out again to clear it up. Then a sidecar crashed on the spillage and flipped, and that caused a drama.
God.
They then sent the sidecars back out again to try and clear it up again some more. By this time, it's like 3 PM, and we've still not had a session. Us afternoon starters, and they then sent some bikes out. So I think MRO 600 went out, and if they were going around at the speed they were, we knew we'd be fine, and we was lucky they sent us out. So we finally got out for a test session, and although it was only one session, was happy to get it. Wanted to scrub the tyres in because first session in the morning was going to be cold and it was qualifying. So I scrubbed a new set of tyres in. Bike ran fine, felt good. It was pretty quiet, really. Didn't really see anybody, but didn't time it. Just went out. Didn't record it, and we got one session, but it is what it is. We all know that you can't odds these things. They tried their best, and they got everybody out for a session at least before the end of the day. So that was good.
So I mean, over the weekend though, I mean, it was great. Obviously, I wasn't there. I would have loved to have been. But it was good to be able to follow along on the Facebook channels, Bemsee Facebook channels for this, especially for the CV500, and obviously the general Bemsee channel as well. But it's cool to see all the stuff they were doing, like all the dynos look really smooth. The process that they did it. I mean, I got to admit, when I heard about having to dyno all the bikes on the day, it's a lot of work for the guys to do it, isn't it? But it looked mega smooth the way they did it.
Yeah, it was crazy clean. So we did qualifying. So qualifying for me was a complete nightmare.
How come?
It turns out one session isn't enough to find a fault with a bike, or to produce a fault with a bike if you have a loose earth terminal off your starter motor, which I'm quite shocked at because I'm pretty good when it comes to bike maintenance. And essentially, I went out for one qualifying lap, which I decided I'd bolt out the gate because I was at the front, and I say bolt, I only put in a 59, but I got one flying lap before my bike just basically cut out.
Wow.
So I put in a 59 as a sort of warm-up lap, and then that was it. And I rolled back in. We tried to find it. We couldn't work out what it was. I thought it was a loose plug. It wasn't. And anyway, as I rode back up to try and get back out for one more lap, they were already pulling people in who'd come in after qualifying to weigh us, actually. So we'll jump to the dyno in bit, but the process was at the beginning of the weekend, or after qualifying, everybody went in and we were weighed, which is what they told us we'd do. And we were thinking, like, post-session weigh-in's going to be chaos. Like, it's got to be, surely. It wasn't. We pulled in back to the other side of the holding area where the dummy grid is at Brands, and sent us straight into the scrutineering garage at the end where sound testing is. And someone took my bike from me or held it for me. Wasn't a lean it up against the wall job or anything like that.
Yeah.
They held the bike. I stood on the scales. Mark Dent, the technical director, was there, weighing us all. I put a picture on the Thunder Bike page the other day that was clocked of us being recorded whilst we were doing it. Yeah. And then they told you what weight category you were in, handed your bike back, and off you trot. It was like seconds. So that was slick as you like. That was every rider.
And that's going to be every time, isn't it?
I don't know if it's every time, because I don't think too many people.
New riders now.
Yeah, I don't know if too many people will fluctuate like that much weight between. I mean, they might do some spot check weights, and they might. I mean, to be honest with you, it ain't the end of the world if they did do it. It was so fast. For how organised it was. It wouldn't matter if it was.
So if you're new, like say next time, like me, I'm going to end up definitely on the scales, aren't I?
I would have thought any newcomers will need to be weighed, because as much as you put your weight class down on your entry, a fair test is a fair test. Hence, one dyno on one day, one set of scales, every rider, and we were all done, and it was nice and straightforward and easy, and the whole weekend just kind of oozed just organisation and class.
Yeah, good.
So we all got weighed, and then we had the first race, and to skip over the first race and how it all went, we all come in from the first race, and I would say, I don't know how many people were behind me, but we pulled in, and at least the top 7 or 8 were stopped at the end of the race, and they sent us in for Dyno, which was next to that, which is in that scrutineering bay in the back of their truck. Again, someone says, jump off your bike, mate. Hand them the bike, stand there and chat to the other riders that were in the race for about, must have been a minute, just having a quick conversation about the race. And before I knew it, someone was handing me my bike back and sending me on my way. It was so fast. I mean, you don't need to do 3 or 4 power runs and try and make it as far as see how much power you can eke out of it just to check it's legal. Yeah, exactly. I'm assuming it went on. I actually had turned off my forward-facing camera on the bike before it had gone in, but the rear camera picked it up. Obviously, there's nothing; it couldn't see anything anyway. Yeah. But it was in there for literally one quick run up and then off. Because if it was a hooky bike, it would flag up straight away. You wouldn't need to be trying to squeeze power runs out of it and see how much you can get.
And to be fair, they showed all the power runs anyway, didn't they? On again, one of the posts, it showed everybody's on. They did show quite low, but I guess it doesn't really matter what it shows. It's more about just checking there's no obvious changes to different bikes. Yeah,
Mark explained that his dyno is quite modest or realistic, essentially, and ultimately he said he can change the readings so that the highest ones read 52 and then use it as a base point if they want, but that's the setting that they run their dyno at, and all he's doing is building himself a baseline of what the bike should be. So essentially everybody looked like there was somewhere between 47 and there was some really low ones, but there was a couple of 42s and 43s, but most people were 46, 47. So you'd like to assume a 47 horsepower is about 52, and then anything that's obviously above that is there's obviously some reason to look into it at least, and that's the way they were going to do it. And they did, although they didn't give everybody their individual readings, and they posted them online and said in no particular order this is what all the bikes came out at. They were telling people when they had an underpowered bike, so that they did say, like, just so that you know you got a problem with your bike, you need to go and have a look, you need to have it looked at. We don't know what it is, but your bike is down on power compared to everybody else's. So that was good at least.
Yeah, because that's the issue I had when I had mine done. It was running lower, and I didn't know that until afterwards. But yeah, that sounds good. I mean, it really was just so slick. Yeah. Like, bike handed back and off you go. On top of that, like on the test day,
loads of Bemsee officials just wandering around and scrutineers that were just walking up and down the garages. I don't know what it was like in the lower paddock, but they were walking up and down the garages, having a look at the bikes. They came into ours and mentioned a couple of bits on mine and asked some questions, just like stuff I'd not heard of before, to be fair, about exhaust sticking out past the rear wheel or the rear seat unit. So we just backed my bike up to the wall and made sure it was right, and talking about number placement and number sizes and just odds and sods. And they were just being friendly and nice and helpful, and having that little heads up was quite good. But yeah, it's not run on a shoestring. There's Bemsee officials wandering around, there's marshals, there's staff, it looks like it's heavily staffed, and you can tell that the club has been around obviously a long time, just because it's so well run and established. I think, personally speaking, it definitely had that fun, happy, sort of fun to sporty type feel to the paddock, and the people that were running it, and the people in the office were great. And it was just, when they told us they were going to weigh us, and when Mark was explaining he's going to dyno us, and it as slick as he made it sound like it was going to be, I was sceptical, because from previous experience, it's a lot to do. You're running a race weekend, and I just thought it's got to be a mess, and it just wasn't. And that's not me trying to blow smoke. I'm just being honest, and I think 99.9% of the riders would agree that it was so good from that point of view, at least.
So how many were on the grid then in total from the CBs? So
we had on our grid 26, 27. We had 27 on the grid for race 1.
Yeah, and obviously for anyone who doesn't know, they were full CB grid, wasn't it? No other bikes.
It was a full dedicated CB grid,
which is good.
Yeah.
And so race 1 then, how did you find it go? You start. What was your qualifying time first? Sorry, did you say?
Qualifying time was a 59 point something, which was my warm up lap from the dodgy qualifying. And so I put middle of row 4, 11th. Okay. So bit of a made it hard to begin with. Yeah. But not normally used to starting that far up anyway, to be honest. Right. So it wasn't too bad. But yeah, started on row 4. Yeah, great, out of the holding area. All the same as any other race meeting, really. Nice and slick. Explained to us when we were going out, no problem. That many sighting laps, etc. Because it did change. We did end up having a delay at one of the races. I can't remember which one it was. But no, race 1 was fine. Went straight out.
Was it 10 laps then in total?
It was it a 10 or it was an 8 lap race, the first race. Right. But one of the races did become a different amount of laps. I can't remember which one it was, and we did 2 warm-ups. I think that might have been Sunday's first race. Right. But they obviously explained that on the holding grid, on the dummy grid, and that was fine. Nicely communicated, no problem at all. So I just had a really good start, and I had the bit between my teeth because I was so annoyed about my dodgy earth in qualifying, and I think I made up about 4 or 5 places on the start, and I headed up towards Druids and ended up in false neutral, and about 3 or 4 people went back under me, so I was basically back where I started. Yeah. And then the race was good. I was quite far back to begin with, and the start of the race it's only a short lap, and there's only 5 corners, so there's not loads of places to make up loads of time on people. But I had a nice little battle with Rob Carver from SF Parts, the sponsor of the series. And then I ended up getting, I think I had Gary Durling and Ian Carter to contend with, who were in front of me at one point, and Rob eventually got past them, and then had to sort of hunt down Richard Blunt, who was going quite well, by which time the other guys had gone quite far up the road. Once I'd got past Richard,
I had quite a big gap. I think it was about 7 or 8 seconds to Peter Woodall, Jake Corty. I hope I'm saying that right.
Is Jake the one that was in the lighter class then?
Jake was in the
mid class.
That's it, yeah. Jake was the in lightweight class, and then there was Daniel North who won the race in middleweight. Peter Woodall was middleweight, me who was in middleweight, and then Richard Blunt was also middleweight. So a lot of those people in that top group were basically middleweights, and Jake was lightweight. Jake's stature is quite small, so he definitely makes good use of that by the looks of things.
Ideal for the bike,
Perfect for the bike. But yeah, Dan gave him a good race anyway, and Dan was keen to try and win it overall. There is an overall championship going on, so this is an ACU championship, as he said. So there is still an overall championship to be considered, regardless of the weight categories. So Daniel was trying his best to make sure he got points for that, but ultimately middleweight. 1, 2, 3 was so Dan North won the first one, Peter Woodall second, I came third, and yeah, it was a good race. Obviously, I had a nice battle trying to get back past people. I know Blunty's quite quick from things I'd seen online and heard, so it was good to see him in front of me and sort of trying to reel him in. And then I was quite happy. I got my first podium at CB500 racing. My first ever CB500 podium. So I was quite chuffed. And that was the first race. I think looking back, I've watched the race that Alan Flack has posted on his YouTube channel. He records all the races from Bemsee and posts them online eventually, which is great.
He's going to be at all the rounds, isn't he?
He's going to be at all the rounds. I don't know if he does every race from the meeting, so I don't know if there's race 2, like the second CB race and the third and the fourth. But I don't know if he just does one per round, but it was great to be able to see. It's all stitched together from different angles of the circuit. And so although I wasn't in... Although I was in the race, it was great to watch bits of the race, and it looked great. It looked like on the video and from speaking to people that there were battles up and down the field in every class. The rookies apparently were, well, you can see on the video and you can tell by the timings, the rookies were absolutely,
I saw that.
Absolutely having it away with each other.
So there's quite a few new ones, wasn't this time? And
there was.
Any particular riders really? I mean, I suppose everyone did well, but anyone particular stand out? Yeah,
so obviously Jake, I'd actually never heard of Jake before. He won the lightweight class. Unfortunately, there's only 3 riders in the lightweight class, so it's only a winner. But Jake obviously won that one, did very well. And then Ian Carter won the heavyweight class. Ian Carter does race at No Limits. And he's quite well known in the No Limits paddock in the veterans class. Obviously Gary Derlin, who I had to get past as well, rode well. Rob Carver hasn't ridden for like 5 years, and he came 6th in class in middleweight. Tom Moore, who was on our first podcast for the Bemsee build-up, he came 7th in class. Did very well. Best lap time of a 58.9. So Tom was going well.
Yeah, that's good.
And then so there was a bunch of new people as well. The first rookie was, I believe, Will Kearney. He's a lovely guy. I met him on a track day there, about a month prior to the first round, and he rode really well all weekend. So I'll just quickly tell you who the podium finishers were for each class. So for the first race, it was Ian Carter, Luke Derling, and Richard Hayward, who were the heavyweight podium finishers. And the rookies were Will Kearney, Abigail Marshall, and Dean Carver, who I believe is not related to Rob Carver, but he's called Dean Carver. All of those riders rode really, really well. I did get a chance to speak to a lot of these people. A lot of it wasn't on camera, and then some of it is on camera, but unfortunately some of the audio is terrible from the Saturday night. But there'll be bits of that in the vlog portion of the video as well. Generally lap times were not as quick as the old Thundersport times. To be fair, it's sort of, because it's its own thing and it's new, the times were down a little bit. I went faster over the weekend than I'd been there before, but I was terrible the last time I was there, to be fair, and I have no idea really why, other than just I was terrible. And Northie went quicker than he's been before there, so it was going well. Peter Woodall does race MZs, I think he races MZs, so he's familiar with racing there quite a bit, but he set good lap times as well. So I think they'll come down, and I think it will get faster. But yeah, for the first race, the race was fantastic. It went perfectly as far as I can tell. There was only a couple of people who didn't finish, one being Nigel Terry in middleweights, number 65, and Paddy Moore, who's Tom's son, who was on the podcast. And I believe he only didn't finish because I think his chain snapped. I think it was that race.
Were they technical problems?
Yeah, I believe it was technical. I think his chain snapped. But he did a 59 dead. So he was going well as well. Paddy, yeah. So the best lap of the race was Jake, a 56.1. So it was getting there. But it was still pretty cold at that time. So it did go well.
Yeah, nice. So that's so race one then, third. Race two, same, third position. Did that bump you up the grid then? Or
yes.
Must have done, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so I went from 11 for the grid. So they do mega laps for every next race. Or I think it's actually your finishing position overall. Is it your finishing position? I think it's lap time, actually. Yeah, it's lap time. So lap time dictates your grid spot for the following race. And then, so I was on second row, fourth on the grid. And I felt really good going into it. I'd made quite a lot of time up in the first race, and I was thinking, well, I'm starting further up. As long as it goes well, then I'm in for a good shot of something decent. Yeah. I got a good start again, and I had a bit of PTSD. I actually nearly hit Dan North up the arse going down Paddock Hill, and I nearly hit Dan up the arse at Mallory and had to basically abandoned my bike a couple of years ago and got knocked out. So a little bit of PTSD. I was like, when's this going to end? So I ended up running wide, and it kind of upset my rhythm a little bit. But yeah, I had a good race. I had a good race with Peter, and I had a good race with Richard as well. I believe. Oh, I've got the wrong race up for race two. So race two, Dan won overall again. Then Jake won his class. Peter Woodall second. I was third. We really broke away from them on that race. Was pretty much with the leaders to the end within a second and a half over the line, all of us. With Richard Blunt was about 8 seconds behind our group. And then he had Gary chasing him behind, Gary Durling. Adrian Kershaw had some bike problems in the first race, and he managed to get himself from wherever he was on the grid in the first race up to sixth in class. Adrian is a Manx TT rider in the past, or Manx rider in the past, and he's quite good. So that bumped him up the grid. Richard Hayward won the heavyweight class. Ian Carter came second, and Ryan Gregory, who was a rookie, came third in the heavyweights. And the rookies were Will Kearney again, Ryan Gregory, and Dean Carver, podium finishers. And obviously Jake won his class in first because there's only a winner in lightweight. Again, times were similar to what they were. Lots of people sub a minute. I don't really remember a lot about the race. Obviously behind me, we haven't seen the footage from that race. But I had a good race with Peter, back and forth a bit in race two. As far as I can tell, it all went well for most people. We didn't have any. We were quite lucky over the weekend in our class. We had no stoppages, no red flags.
That's good.
Yeah.
It always amazes me at Brands Hatch because it's such a small. Well, it's a small version of the track, isn't it? It's quite close, so you can end up with laps that are under 59 seconds, so on, but there's not a lot of space, is there? So it's quite easy to get lapped there. I think I remember the first time I was there, the first time I'd ever ridden a CB. I did 59 seconds in the weekend, but I got lapped still, which, you know, it is what it is. And some of those lads there were bloody fast as well. And there's no big gaps for them, is there? You tend to just you're very close.
Yeah, so we there was some lapping on the Sunday, only a couple of riders. But yeah, it's a short circuit. In the grid that
you got stuck behind one, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It's a short track, and we've got a grid made up of essentially 4 classes of riders.
Yeah.
With rookies, this is the only thing that the weight classes doesn't necessarily maybe make the most sense because
that's what I was going to ask next.
Yeah, it's hard because just because you're not a rookie doesn't mean you're a top. It doesn't mean you're at the front of a grid or that you're that fast yet. So you could finish your rookie license and get a clubman license, and then you could line up on the grid with, well, like you and I are next weekend, with people who are literally British level riders. And just because you're in their weight class, it means you're racing them. So that kind of makes it a bit hard. And then obviously, yes, it's a short lap. So it does take quite a while to catch up people because it's hard to explain, but I think that because the lap's short, you will catch them eventually. You will catch some people, but maybe with a circuit like Oulton or Cadwell, where there's a lot more to putting together a good lap, you'll get a bigger gap, but there's also more for people to be slower on. So you might find that lapping actually comes quicker at Cadwell or Oulton, even though it's bigger, because actually the difference between the front of the grid and the back of the grid is actually much, much bigger at somewhere large where there's like 11 or 13 corners. I guess we'll find out. But I've got to say, everybody, all the riders, no, I didn't hear any complaints about anybody's riding. There was no, don't be wrong, the lads at the front, Richard and Peter and I were all overtaking each other, clean but close. That's what CB is. Some close passes, but I don't think anybody was upset with the way any of the overtaking went, and no one said anything from further down the grid. It sounded like they all had great races. I've seen a couple of clips from Will Kearney's bike following and racing some of the other rookies, and again they all looked really respectful of each other. Clean racing.
Yeah. I tell you what would be nice is if there were more people filming the races. If we could get footage sent in, then we could always add some on, which would be quite cool. Yeah, everybody is up for doing that.
If anyone wants to send us some footage, it'd be great. The raw footage would be fantastic. Or if you can send us if you can upload it to YouTube and send me the link, I can rip it from YouTube if I need to. But yeah, it was great to see everybody absolutely buzzing with their results and with the way day one went. So my day one was fantastic. I had a great weekend. I thought I would do better in the second race. I thought I might be able to sneak.
Though, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought I'd be able to fight for a second or possibly even a win. But to be honest with you, to come away from having not raced on circuit since 22 and come away with my first time back, all right, maybe not the most competitive grid. We haven't got the superstars on the grid, but you could only race who's there on the day. And to come away with 2 podiums was fantastic. Obviously, it was a great confidence boost. I stayed at the circuit on the Saturday night. And
went to the pub.
I got sorted out. Obviously, I quit drinking, so I didn't drink much. I had a shandy, but went up to the Kentagon where they do at Bemsee. You do the trophy presentations from the Saturday at the club. So I took a walk up there, spoke to some of the riders. You'll see me talking to some of the riders. I'll put it in the video now. So I spoke to who did I speak to?
Max, Abby.
I spoke to Abby, Abby Marshall, Yep, first weekend. She's Max McRae's partner, who is an ex-CB500 elite rider, I believe. I think he was elite rider, who now moved on to F900 Cup, and had a rough accident last year, and he just came back to racing at that weekend as well. I don't think Abby took much convincing by the sounds of things, but she came along for her first weekend of racing, and she did mega. She had a great weekend. She actually won a race as well as a rookie. And I'm sure she won a race as a rookie. Let me double check. She won a race as a rookie, and she also she won her class in that race as well. That was race 2.
That's good.
No, that was race 1 on race 3 overall. So race 1 on Sunday morning. We're going to have a chat we're going to have Abby on, and possibly Max McRae on for a podcast later in the year. We'll probably have Will Kearney on as well. I couldn't find him on Saturday night. But I did get to speak to Wayne Drake, who was rider number 77. He had a great weekend. He sounded like he loved it, enjoyed himself. Like I say, I'll put the video up, but the audio is completely useless because it was so loud in there from these interactions. And I did catch up with Max Maud, also the sponsor of the series. I'm gonna get my knuckles wrapped. Can't remember his company name. Max's business is a
Fine Audio.
Fine Audio. Sorry, Fine Audio. Spoke to him briefly as well. Had a chat with Adrian Kershaw, and one of the other riders as well was I think it might have been Simon Finch, who's also local to me as well in Kent. So yeah, like loads of people up there. Obviously, Dan North was there with me, and we stood up on the podium with Peter and Jake. Come up because he was the only one collecting an award for the lightweight class, so he just came up with us as well. Really nice, happy vibes in the Kentagon. They're giving out the medals, which are quite nice actually.
I'm surprised you've taken yours off. I bet you had it on all weekend, didn't you?
They're on my mantelpiece for now, with my hats. But it won't last forever. Wife's not going to have it for much longer, so they'll get tucked away. But at least because they're medals and in like a little, they're in like a closable.
Yeah, decent.
Yeah, they look decent, but you can tuck them away. So not that I'm sure I'll get any more, but it's nice to know that they can be tucked away quite nicely. But so that was good going up there. I just wish that the audio had been better from the people that I spoke to. Otherwise, we'd be able to include it. But all the people that I did manage to speak to, we will get back on. Ideally, what we'd like to do is have a chat with them when we're at a round together. With Mark and I, we'll both sit down with people at the rounds in the garage or in a tent and in the awning and have a chat with them and see how their day's gone. But yeah, everybody was absolutely buzzing from the day's racing on the Saturday. I didn't stay long. I was absolutely mullered. I absolutely have forgotten what it's what a race weekend does to you. And Brands is so spread out. It's not a massive track, but between the top end of the garages and the bottom end of the lower paddock is so far, and it's pitch black. Trying to find anybody to have a chat. It would be really nice if people were keen to come and talk on camera about their racing for the weekend in the class. Let us know. We'll tell you where we are, and if you can help come find us so that we can talk to you, it would make it a lot easier if everyone found us. But yeah, we're both easily contactable on the weekend. So we're both at Oulton next week. So if you do want to come and see us, we'd love to have you on camera and talk to you all. So we will do that. But yeah, I didn't stay long. I ended up going back to the van, diesel heater on because it was very cold, and got an early night. So, but yeah, very different to my old race weekends. A lot of our old CB500. Party gazebos, party garages, and drinking and silliness. But no, it was nice and tame. But yeah, great to be up there with everybody and do a podium for a change. It was nice.
Yeah, sounds good. So just before Karen, then, I saw some mega pictures throughout the weekend as well, and we've got an official photographer, haven't we, that's been doing it. So
yeah, we do. So
rounds.
yeah, so we've got Chequered Flag Images are working with us. He is one of the official photographers. It's Matt Sisson. He's one of the official Bemsee photographers, and he's going to be taking pictures for us for our podcast, just so that we've got content to put on. He's going to provide us with pictures of Mark and I, and pictures of odd riders here and there. Obviously, we don't want him to give us everything because it's a bit. We don't want to take the mick and take his business away from him. But Matt's really good. The pictures that he took of me were fantastic. I didn't even know he was there. Sometimes he caught me at the end of the qualifying, or in the middle of the qualifying, when I'm walking off with my bike with the ump, and he just catches the absolute the ambience of what's going on in the moment, which was really good. So yeah, we if you want some official pictures, there's Matt, and there are 2 other official Bemsee photographers, but you'll have to forgive me because I can't remember their names, but they are easily findable as well, and their shots are great too. But yeah, Chequered Flag Images on Facebook, Matt Sisson, give him a shout if you want any. There will be some pictures, obviously, I'm going to throw into my vlog portion of the video to show you what was there, and what Matt took. And yeah, thanks, Matt, for supporting the podcast, and yeah, we appreciate it.
Cool. So, race 3 then. So, that was the best result of the weekend, wasn't it? 2nd place on that one.
Yeah, I mean,
I believe you were in first briefly, were you?
Yeah, it was brief. So, race 3, I thought would go better than it did. I got a terrible start. So, for some reason, overnight, I actually forgot how to launch the bike completely. And the 2 amazing starts I got in the first race, where I had the bit between my teeth, I didn't do. And I got overtaken like off the start, like it was ridiculous. Did a bit of work, got back up, and then was racing with Peter Woodall for what would have been 3rd or would have been 2nd in class. Again, because I had the work to do, because I made a terrible start, a hash of it, and had to get through some riders. Jake and Dan had up to their game and were pushing each other to the absolute limit, really, for them. Yeah. And they'd gone up the road, so I was chasing them, riding with Peter, and then it got to about lap 7, I think, and as we were coming up towards Druids, there was a big dust cloud, and both Jake and Dan had crashed, but not into each other, we don't think. As far as I can tell, based on what I was told, they had the same crash but separately.
Right.
So whether one of them led the other one into a crash or what, I don't really know, but they were both fine. They both were up, and then obviously that meant Peter and I were having a battle for first, which, although it was a gifted battle for first, if you don't stay on, you don't get to win.
Yeah.
So we had a couple of laps where he overtook me, and I thought I'd follow him for a little bit, because I knew I had a good few laps left, and I think, if I remember rightly, it was a longer race. It was a 12-lap race, like race 3. I started from the same position on the grid, but yeah, like I said, it didn't go so well. But by this point, I had a couple of laps to go, and I believe it was I knew I was coming onto the last lap. So as I was coming onto the last lap, we come up to a back marker coming around Clearways, and I used the back marker and Peter for a draft. Overtook him going into Paddock onto the last lap. Set my fastest lap of the weekend, I think, somewhere into the 56s. I was hoping to get into the 55s, but there was some oil down, actually, from a previous incident on Paddock, and I don't know why, but oil just gets into my head, and I started taking Paddock like a complete wuss, but somehow managed to outbrake him or get into Paddock before him. And then I just tried to cover the inside line at Druids, and I thought I was being clever, and I just covered it, and we were coming up to another back marker. I can't remember who it was, and I was looking at him, making sure the line was right, and just was a bit too quick on the gear change on the downshift going up, and caught a false neutral, which is on the video. I'll play it so you can see and hear it, because it frustrated me when it happened, and I ended up running on. I managed to get it stopped and in gear and turned, and all I could hope for was that the back marker held Peter up enough for me to try and have a go back at him. Luckily for Peter, he managed to get through him all right. But by the time I'd got back, heading down towards Graham Hill, Blunty was up my right-hand side as well, and had just coasted past. I wasn't giving up second, so I already figured I'd screwed first up. So I think I went underneath him at Graham Hill, and then got second. Couldn't quite do the first place, but it was nice to have the feeling of being in the lead of the final lap of the race, and to experience it for a second. It turns out the pressure isn't good for me. So.
Well, still progress in it. That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah. It was an experience. It was a good race. Peter he's hard rider but fair, and really, really good to race against. And Blunty obviously kept me honest as well, so that was that was nice.
Imagine when he gets to the front, your arse does go, because he's like, oh shit, I'm at the front.
Well, the thing is like, as soon as I saw the last lap, as soon as I saw them go, obviously you know where you're faster. I'd actually been following Peter basically for the last two races over the weekend, so I knew that if I could keep him behind me going into Surtees, I'd be fine, because I was strong through Surtees and a bit better through Clearways. And he was quite good going down into Graham Hill, which was weird because I was quite good there as well. But he was just able to put it up the inside of basically anybody you wanted there. Sounds a bit grim, but he was able to make a nice tight line there, and so I knew if I could get to there before him, I had a good chance of beating him to the line. Yeah. And just keeping him behind me, and the plan just went wrong, really. But I know if I'd have stayed out wide and tried to take the corner normally, he'd have done what everybody else would have done and tried to go up the inside of me at Druids. So it wasn't to be. It is what it is. But Mega Lap still put us all in the same grid positions basically. So I was still on the second row for the fourth race, fourth race was. Oh, sorry, we need to discuss third race winners and people. So, obviously, Peter Woodall, middleweight, me second, Blunty come third, Ian Carter won that one for the heavyweights. Ryan Gregory came second in the heavyweights. He's also a rookie. He came third in the rookies as well. And Luke Derling came third in the heavyweights. And that was the race that Abbey won as a rookie. Will Kearney second and Ryan Gregory third. Obviously because Jake had crashed out, it meant Abigail won her race. So there was a few fallers in that one, or a few people didn't finish. Rob Flint, Jake, Dan North, Chris Rowland, I think he had bike problems all weekend that we just couldn't get resolved. It sounds like some serious bike issues. Adrian Kershaw again had another bike issue because he got a great start from where he was. I think he was on row 3, and he was right in the mix with all of us at the beginning, and then all of a sudden his bike cut out. Or he stopped heading into Surtees. I don't know if he had another bike issue, but he didn't finish either. But again, and Tom Moore, I don't know what happened to Tom, but he didn't finish a lap, didn't do a lap. I don't know if he didn't. Nigel Terry didn't start the race. But another great race. Dry, no red flags. No one was hurt in any of the crashes. Everyone come away good from it. So it was a great race, and it was great for me to lead it for a second. There's a bit of some people probably seen it on my Facebook, a clip of the audio of when I was leading it, which was nice to see and nice to hear. So thanks to Chris for sending me that. Chris Caford sent me that, which was quite cool. I don't really know what else to say about race 3 other than that it's going to haunt me for the rest of my life. That false neutral probably over a CB500 race, but never mind. And then the course of the day was good. It went quite well. I forgot to say actually, we did have a big stoppage on the Saturday. Not for our class, but there was a big stoppage A rider in rookie thousands had an accident on the start straight, and there was quite a long stoppage, and we was a bit unsure of what was going to happen. And then obviously was all quite relieved. Eventually, I think it was like 2 hours after a 2 hour stop, the air ambulance turned up, so we knew he was alive at least. And they took him off to hospital, and racing resumed. And the club actually we lost 2 hours, and they still managed to get every race in. All right, it was a bit short of race distance. We should have had 9 or 10 lap races, and we only had 8s or 7s or whatever they were. But it was they managed it perfectly. They kept us updated. They've got a Tannoy app via the internet. So it's an app that you can download, and it plays out all the information and the class calls. Like you get your first, second, and last call for your grid spots. We just Bluetoothed it to a speaker in the garage and had it on loud, and you could hear it. Every call was perfectly crystal clear. It was fantastic.
That's one of usually the issues, isn't it? Trying to know. I tell you what, that's one of the things that stresses me a little bit is thinking, trying to make sure I'm ready so I'm not on the bog when they call us to go out or something stupid. That is like genuinely one of the issues.
Yeah, because it doesn't run, because the schedule doesn't run to a time. It runs to as a schedule. Like you never really know based on just what's out at the time. And we had it hooked up to my big speaker, and it was such a cool thing to have over the weekend, just knowing exactly when to go, because it was so loud and clear. That was really helpful. And actually, just going back to the test day, when there was the stoppage with the sidecars at like lunchtime, they opened up scrutineering like 3 hours early because they knew there was a stoppage, so they started doing that early. So they're forward thinking, and they're quick with it when they need to be. So that was great. Basically we got to the last race on Sunday. I think didn't really want the weekend to end. Was having a real good time. Last
place in that one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I got 4th place. Adrian Kershaw's bike obviously worked perfectly fine because he absolutely won it. He shot off at the beginning quite well, working his way through. I watched it back on the footage, and you can tell the guy's got some pedigree behind him. Jake Corty didn't finish the race. I don't know why. I don't remember seeing him crash. I think he might have had a technical. But Dan North came 2nd. Peter Woodall came 3rd for the middleweights. And obviously Adrian Kershaw won it for middleweight. I had a good race with Richard Blunt, but we were quite far behind the other lads in that one. I think we all just kept tripping each other up, and we were a good sort of 10 seconds back on them at the end of the race. Them three, they were battling it out, so we didn't have a lot in that last one. I'd had a good weekend at this point, and given the reputation I have for being a bit of a crasher, I didn't want to spoil my good weekend by having a crash. So
It's intense though, isn't it? I mean, it's, if you haven't raced for a while, everyone's first race, it knocks you out, doesn't it, for a bit?
Yeah.
It is intense.
When you've had a good weekend, and you've had some results, and you're on a nice shiny brand new bike that you've built all winter, and you've do you know what? It's still in one piece, and I'm in one piece, and I've had a great weekend. I'll settle for a 4th place and not trying to chase it down. Don't be wrong. I went at the start as hard as I could, the same as everybody else always does. But when I realised that they were going, I had a good race with Blunty, and we had a lot of back and forth, which was fun again. The heavyweight class was won by Ian Carter. Ryan Gregory was 2nd, and Richard Hayward another 3rd. And for the rookies, it was Ryan Gregory won. Paddy got a 2nd in the rookies, and he obviously won his class as a lightweight because Jake DNF'd. So 1 apiece for Paddy and Abby as lightweight winners, which was nice. And Will Kearney, rookie, 3rd place. So great result for Will Kearney, literally on podium, I think every race over the weekend. Really good. And I think Richard Hayward as well. So and Ian Carter had a great weekend in his class. Everybody had great weekends. Everybody had a good result. The Colt, I hope I'm saying the last name right. I think it's Dyer or Dwyer. There was Colt, Nick, and then there was Richard, and I think there was them, and then a couple of others with them in their garage. All great lads. They had some bike problems. Rob Carver got them sorted. Rob had a great week. Rob had a great weekend. Rob gets everybody sorted, but Rob had a great weekend back. I think he was. I don't know if he thought he would, how he'd do, but yeah, I think he did fantastic for someone who hasn't raced for that long. I mean, I thought I hadn't raced for a while, and he's twice as long as me, and yeah, he did really well. And then everybody, Calvin Grimes, Rob Flint, Luke Durling, everybody I spoke to, Simon Finch, the lot, everybody that I spoke to people about, absolutely had a great weekend. Max had an okay weekend, bless him. Max Maud, the rider rep. The Bemsee staff were really good. Max has already spoke about it on Facebook about what happened with his brake pads. I think most people probably know, but luckily we didn't really know, and there was a stoppage on race 3, I think it would have been, it was race 3. So on the warm up for race 3, one of the Bemsee officials had to run back and speak to Abby, and we were kind of confused as what was going on. And Max's brake pads had fallen out. The pin had come out of his caliper on the warm-up lap, so she was pointing it out. So well done for that, because we definitely didn't want any of that. And then Max was pushed to the side of the grid. I don't know if it happened, which way round it happened. It was all a bit of a blur, but yeah, they got that sorted, so that was good. But Max had a good weekend as well, apart from needing to drive all the way back to Yorkshire for an exhaust at one point. I don't really know what that was about, Max was there on hand, handing out stickers and walking around on Saturday night and during the day as well, and talking to people and making sure everyone had what they needed, which was fantastic. So well done, Max.
There's the stickers, isn't there, that he's put for if you want to be able to display your weight on the bike, of the class you're in, should I say.
Yeah, it's optional.
The others, yeah,
exactly that. It's optional. It's just a coloured sticker. And to be honest with you, I mean, you're either going to notice it or you're not going to notice it. I don't know if it actually matters in a race, whether you're or not. You're just trying to get past the person in front. It almost doesn't matter what class they're in. If he'd kept the little pictures on them, because they're just coloured stickers, but he did show us some where they had like a slightly bigger person, a normal, like a middleweight, and then a skinny person. That would have been cool, but he asked me if I wanted one, and it didn't match my colour scheme.
Yeah,
I was being a tart, so I said no.
I'm picky about that as well.
But overall, all I can say is it was well run. It was a nice atmosphere. Our grid, obviously, everybody seemed nice. We were able to go and ask people for things if we needed something or someone needed help, and everyone was really super helpful, like they always are in race paddocks. But our grid was full of nice people, nice characters, nice rookies, fun racing from front to back based on everything that everybody said. We had a great atmosphere in our garage. We had me, Dan North, Mark Osborne, my mate Jason Cherry, who I went to school with, did his first race weekend, and his friend Anmar, who did his first race weekend as well. We had a guy called Logan in the garage next to us as well, who was his first weekend on a mini twin, which was also Mark Osborne's first weekend on a mini twin. And everybody was great. It was great atmosphere, friendly, all the officials. Mark said that obviously from watching the CB500 racing that it looked like CB500 racing. There was battles everywhere, and it was great. So that's good to hear that from a spectator's point of view, it's the same as any other CB500 racing. There's not really a lot more to say about Brands apart from what a success for the club. I think the weight category thing's going to need a little bit of tuning, and I think that Bemsee are really good at listening to rider feedback and advice. I know that they've got Max, who's a rider rep, but just the bits I've spoken to them about, and I've spoken to Mark about, it's always well received and it's always considered, and nothing silly. Like, there's no silly comments or silly questions or silly requests.
Yeah, well,
you know, it's just,
you want it to evolve, don't you? It's a new club for the, well, not a new club, sorry. It's a new class for the club. So you want it to be like, you know, building as you go and evolving. So that's good.
well, the proof's in the pudding. So we had 27 odd riders for round 1, and we've got a full 40 rider grid for round 2. Round 2 is Oulton Park, which is next weekend.
That is going to be mega, to a full 40 grid.
Yeah.
Because I've done it obviously with Thundersport ones and with other like No Limits as well, but they've always had a couple of other Kawasaki's in there as well, which is fine. But they, of course, they just clear off. So it'd be nice when. I'm not saying that the CBs aren't going to clear off, because I know there's some fast riders, which you've got the list, haven't you, which we can probably show.
I have got the list, yeah.
But that's going to be mega with that full 40 on the grid. I can't wait.
Yeah, we've got a huge list of names on the grid. Loads of people who were at the first round. I don't really know how to show it really, but I'll superimpose it up on the screen. But there's also some really, really fast people. James Llewellyn, who was raced at No Limits, he is quick. We've got Josh Owens, who you might have heard of, is BSB racer, Superstock 1000 rider, crazy mountain bike rider. And we've got Mark Sugden, he's proper quick around there, I'm told.
Close to that record. I wish.
Yeah, we've got new people as well. Gary, I can never say your last name. Is it Adajan? Gary Adajan's come in.
Just call him Gary.
Gary's easier. I apologise if I've said your name incorrectly. Max McRae, Abby's other half, has decided that he is coming back to CB500 racing. He obviously enjoyed it a lot. Abby, I'm sure, is going to gun for him and try and kick his ass, but... be good to see Max back on the grid. Max is the signature rider from quite a well-known picture I think it was at Cadwell Park, where he's trying to Superman to get his fingers across the line before the rider next to him for a photo finish. But yeah, good to see Max has decided to sign on, because when I spoke to Abby, she did mention that there was a chance that they wouldn't be at Oulton. So good to see Max and Abby both signed on. Obviously, Rob Carver is back. We've also got Finn Chalk, who frequents the Scottish Championship and was a race winner and contender at Thundersport in the elite class, racing Will, Josh and Grant quite regular. So
some fast riders this time.
Good to have Finn. Yep. Obviously, Jake's Corty's back. Adrian Kershaw's back. There's new names. Alfie Davidson, Anthony Cartwright, Deck Reeve, who's a No Limits rider, ex-Thundersport rider as well, or I don't know if Deck does No Limits religiously. We've also got the No Limits CB500 champion from last year joining us, James Cottenham. I did catch up with him last weekend at Snetterton for their round 1. I'll be doing a little vlog of that on the channel. It's not going to be as long as this, and it's pretty much just going to be some clips from Snetterton. But the racing was also fantastic and good to watch. Just run very differently to Bemsee, and having not ridden at No Limits, I'm not going to pass comment on how it's run, but it just looked different and felt different. But the racing was great, and I'll cover all of that lot in that briefly. But then all of the Dyers, I don't know how to say their names, are back. Calvin Grimes, we got a stacked grid of people.
Well, I can safely say my usual position towards the back of the grid will be back on for me.
Keeping it warm for you.
With that list. Yeah.
We've got the return of. We've also got Will Kearney back again from the first round, but we've also got Brian Murphy's making his return to racing. Brian's a great guy, so he's coming back as well. I think it's going to be a great weekend. I've never actually done Oulton, so it was always such a hard justifier when it was only 1 day's racing at Thundersport, and I never got to do it, and I've never even been on track day, so really looking forward to it. Based on what everybody says, so
it's my local track. Not that means anything other than it's the nearest for me, but it is mega. I find it's fast flowing, but just I love the fact that it's hilly. It is, yeah, it's like a big Cadwell to me.
A big Cadwell, because Cadwell's tiny, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
so yeah,
it'll be interesting to see, based on what we saw at round one with the classes and the fact that we've now got some seriously quick people turning up and some consistently fast people turning up, how the front of the grid to the back of the grid's going to work from a class point of view. Because at Thundersport you typically had sportsman elites together because they were of the same sort of not speed necessarily, but they were of the same age group and experience group, and then you had the seniors and the freshmen's together, because they were sort of, you had the sort of, without sounding rude to them, the more sensible and experienced riders, and then the new riders who were not so fast together, and that worked well on two separate grids. So it'd be interesting to see how this is going to work on one grid when there is such a vast
quite a mix.
difference. But everybody that's on the grid is experienced. All the fast people are experienced, and the faster people will always find a clean way of getting past slower riders. And I think that's key to remember. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. We're going to be in the paddock together with our group, and we welcome anybody down to come and see us and speak to us and tell us how their weekend's going. Test day. Are you on the full test?
Yeah, full day.
Yeah, so we're on the full test day, and we're camping at the circuit, we're camping at the circuit, so we'll be there all weekend. I say all weekend, it's Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night.
Yeah, slightly earlier this one, isn't it? We finish Saturday, don't we, instead of the usual Sunday?
Yeah, we get, I think the setup for the weekend is 3 races. I don't think it's 4. I think you get 1 race on Saturday, and I'm assuming that's probably still due to noise restrictions or something. But it's 1 race Saturday, 2 races Sunday, and yeah, hopefully it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And we hope to see as many people as we can over the weekend, and we'll obviously have an Oulton review as well, because we're going, and we're hoping to get lots of footage between the pair of us and circuit footage, and knowing us two, we'll probably be like following each other around all weekend, annoying each other, so there'll be plenty of footage of each other as well, and racing together. So if everybody wants to come along and see us, just let us know.
Yeah,
I think
that's to be able to speak to us.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for round 1 Bemsee 2025 at Brands Hatch. I think it was fantastic. I think can't wait to see what the rest of the season brings. Looking forward to it, and we'll see you all next time.
Cheers.
Thanks very much. Bye.